Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Chris here, founder of Rooted Music Coaching. And at Rooted, our goal is to help you learn to play the music you love by coaching you on the why and not just the what. Now, we hope you really enjoyed the tutorial that's coming up here in just a second today. And as you watch it, we'd love for you to go ahead and subscribe to our channel where you'll see more tutorials just like this for piano, guitar, bass, you name it. We have the tutorial for you. So we hope you really enjoy the tutorial today. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Hey everyone, this is JT with Rooted Music, here with you guys today for a beginner piano tutorial of the hymn It Is Well. And so what we've done is we've gone to the hymnal, the original format of It Is Well, and we've broken the song down and turned it into a simplified chord chart. And so if you want to learn how to play It Is Well in the original context that it was written by Spafford and Bliss, this is the video for you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the chord chart today and break the song down, and by the end of this video you're gonna know everything you need to know to play It Is Well. And the key that we're going to be playing this song in today suits a female voice. We have this exact same video in another key that is more suited for a male voice to be singing and leading this song. So today we're going to look at a few pieces of really important information before we dive headfirst into the song, and it's going to make learning this song a lot easier. And the first thing, I've kind of already alluded to it, is the key, and we are in the key of G major for It Is Well. Again, this is a key that suits a female vocalist. And here we have the notes or the scale of the key of G. So let's go ahead and play through this scale. So we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. There we go. And the key of G is relatively friendly to piano players, especially new piano players, because we only have one sharp in the key, which is F sharp right there. So here's that scale one more time. Now, if you look in the lower right-hand corner of the page here, you're going to see that we have the chord chart and the number chart attached. And so let's go ahead and build this scale in natural numbers if you prefer to read in natural numbers. And when we're reading a number chart, all we do is we replace the letters of the scale, and we start at 1 and just build our way up the scale. So G is going to be 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5, E is 6, F sharp is 7, and G is back to 1. So here's that scale in numbers one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Awesome. And it's really up to you. You can play this reading the number chart. I'm going to be reading the number chart today in this video, but I'll be referring to both. If you'd rather read the letter names of the chords, we've provided that for you as well. And one thing that I want to point out about the scale here as well before we start looking at the chords is that we will have some chords in this song that use some notes that are outside of the scale. We're going to have some C sharps in a couple spots, and we'll have a few other notes that we may not typically find in our scale in the key of G, but 95% of the notes we're playing in this song is this scale right here. So now let's look through verse 1 and the refrain and see how many individual unique chords we need to know to play the song, and then we're going to build those chords and go through it before we try to play it. We get that practice playing those chords before we try to play the song. Makes it a lot easier. So we have a 1 chord, which is G. We have our 5 chord, which is D, 1 over 3, which is G over B. We have a 6 chord, which is E minor. We have our 5 over 2, which is going to be D over A. We have a major 2 chord, which is A major. Our 2 chord is generally a minor chord, A minor, but here this capital M indicates we have an A major. We have a 4, which is C. We have a 1 over 5, which is G over D. And I think that's it. So we have a total of 8 different chords that we need to know in this song. So let's go ahead and build these chords in ascending scale order. So we're going to start with G, or our 1 chord. And for this video, to make this a little more accessible to beginner level piano students, what we've done is we're going to play triads in our right hand, which are chords of 3 notes. So for example, we have our G chord, or our 1 chord. We have G is the root, B is the 3rd, D is the 5th. Every chord is going to have a root 3rd, 5th, and we're going to play these chords all in root position, meaning the namesake of the chord or the root is going to be the lowest note we're playing in our right hand, which just makes it a little easier to find these chords on the piano. Also for this video, you can add an octave of the root in your left hand. That's what I do in the playthrough at the end. It just really rounds out the piano sound. But if that's too tough, you can just play a single note of the root in your left hand. Still provides a little bit of that low end, kind of really rounds out the sound. Or if that's too hard, just go ahead and play the right hand to start. And then when you get more comfortable, you can go in and add your left hand. All right, so let's go ahead and build these chords. So we're going to start with our G chord or our 1 chord, which we've already kind of gone through, but let's go ahead and just build it one more time. So G is our root, B is going to be the 3rd, and D is the 5th. So that's our G chord or our 1 chord. Next, we have our 1/3 or G over B. And in a lot of these beginner tutorials that we do, we sometimes remove the slash chords. We call these slash chords or number over number chords or letter over letter chords. But in this song, these really do contribute a lot. And if we took those out, we would lose a lot of the harmonic structure of this song. So we're going to go through these today. We're going to explain it. It's not too challenging, and we know you guys are going to do just great. So with our slash chords or number over number or letter over letter, we have 2 different things going on. The first number or letter tells us what we're playing in the right hand, and the second number or letter tells us what we're going to play in the left hand. So if I have a 1/3 or a G over B chord, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that G triad in my right hand, just like we played. So G is the root, B is the 3rd, D is the 5th. But instead of G in my left hand, I'm moving my left hand to our 3 or B. There we go. So I still have my 1 chord in the right hand with my 3rd note of the scale in the left hand, or I have my G chord in the right hand and B in the left hand. So there we go. That's 1/3. And that's how we read all of those slash chords or number over number or letter over letter. So we have a 1/5 later on in the song, or G over D, and it's going to be the exact same. We have G is the root, B is the 3rd, D is the 5th in our right hand, but our left hand, instead of playing G or B, we're going to move it to the 5 or D. And there we go. So G over D or 1/5 there. Next, we have our major 2 chord. And in a major 2 chord, we have A is the root, C sharp is the 3rd. Typically, we have a minor 2 chord unless specifically requested. And here we have our major 2. So A is the root, C sharp is the 3rd. Remember, in A minor, C is the 3rd. So we have that C sharp is the 3rd, and E is the 5th. And there we go. That's our major 2 chord. Next, we have our 4 chord, or C. So C is the root, E is the 3rd, G is the 5th, and that's our C chord. Then we have our D chord. So D is the root, F sharp's the 3rd, A is the 5th, and there we go. Now we have our D over A. So we're going to keep this D, F sharp, A in our right hand, and instead of D here, we're going to play A. Just like that. So D over A, or 5/2. And then our last chord is going to be our E minor, or our 6th chord. So E is the root, G is the 3rd, and B is the 5th. And there we go. Those are the 8 chords that we need to know to play this song. Again, they're all built in root position to make them a little easier to find on the piano. And I know we went through that quickly, so let's go really quick and refresh one more time through these chords. So we have G, or a 1 chord, G over B, which is 1/3, G over D, which is 1/5, A, which is our major 2 chord, and we have C, which is our 4 chord, D, which is our 5 chord, D over A, which is our 5/2, and then E minor, which is our 6th chord. Awesome. And I know that we went through that quickly, and if that was new to you, I would definitely recommend that you rewind this video, go back through those chords again, get comfortable with those chords, being able to play them, and switch between those chords pretty quickly. We also, in our piano library, have informational videos on every single key. So we have an informational video on the key of G major. If you want more information than kind of the bare minimum we could cover in this video today, I highly recommend you check that out. In that video, you're going to learn why the notes of G major are those notes, why is there only 1 sharp in the key of G major, the difference between major and minor chords, how do we know how to build those chords. You're going to learn a ton that's going to help you play this song. It's a really short video, about 20-25 minutes, and you'll be able to learn a ton that not only will help you for the key of G, but you're going to learn principles about harmony that help in every key. So we definitely recommend that you check that out. Awesome. So now we know our key and our chords. Let's talk about the rhythmic elements of the song here. Our time signature for It Is Well is 4/4. And anytime we're looking at our time signature, the first number tells us how many beats are in a measure, and the second number tells us what kind of note is considered one beat. So we have 4 beats per measure, and a quarter note is considered 1 beat. And if you don't know what a measure is simply the way that we break this song down into smaller pieces, kind of like how a longer book is broken up into chapters. We can think of measures as the smaller pieces of the song, and they really just help us keep track of where we are. So every measure is going to have 4 beats. So we're going to go through this chord chart and kind of talk about how the chords line up with the lyrics, but we're also going to count our way through it as well. So every measure, we're going to count to 4 because we have 4 beats in a measure. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the measures just smoothly flow from one right into the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that, I just counted 2 measures back to back. Awesome. And again, we'll definitely point that out, make it super clear when we're counting through as well. And the tempo for this hymn really sits nicely in the range between 80 to 100 beats per minute. So you can play this song a little faster. It's certainly not the slowest hymn that you would play, but certainly we don't want to rush it too much. This is a song that thematically really talks about having that peace in your heart and in your soul when going through tough times. And so we don't want to make this song too fast and have too much energy, because we do want to understand that the lyrics really talk about perseverance, but in the same way, there's that hope in the perseverance as well. So we don't want to play it too slow either and really make it sound just really, really sad and depressing. So we really want to find that middle ground, and 80 to 100 is the perfect tempo range for this song. In the playthrough at the end of this video, I'm playing the song at 84 beats per minute, which is a little on the slower end of this range, but 84 beats per minute on that. Awesome. So now that we know our key, the chords, the tempo, the time signature, we're ready to start actually playing verse 1. And so let's talk about here really quick. If you've never looked at a chord chart or a number chart, this probably is a little bit intimidating to you, but we're going to explain how this works really quick. So every one of these numbers, or if you're reading the letter chart, the letters indicate a chord change. So we're going to play more chords in regards to actually playing the keys of the piano. We're going to play more than what's written here, but each one of these different numbers or letters tells us in relation to the lyrics when the chords change from, say, a G chord or a 1 chord on peace to our 5 chord or D on the ver of river. And so we're going to explain that as we go, but just remember these are the chord changes, not necessarily every note that we're going to play throughout the song. Awesome. And so the way we're going to break this down is we're going to go just one line at a time. This song has a little bit of a different rhythmic structure when it comes to the number of measures per phrase. Typically in songs, we have our phrases or sections of the song are generally multiples of 4. Here, our verse is actually a total of 14 measures, so we really can group these into groups of 7, which is a little bit unique, and then the refrain here at the end of the verse is also 7 measures. So we typically would deal with 4 or 8, but in this one, we are doing groups of 7 measures. So what I'm going to do is go through these first 2 lines. I'm going to play these chords with the lyrics. I'm going to say the lyrics, then we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to go through the exact same spot and count it. So here we go. I'm going to count in, and then we'll start. So 1, 2, 3. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll. And there we go. Those are the first 7 measures. And one thing I do want to point out here on it as well, this very first note, this very first G or 1 chord on the word when, is a pickup note leading us into the song. So what a pickup note is It's simply when the way that the song is written, where the song doesn't start on beat 1 like we do here. Technically, beat 1 of our first full measure is on piece. We have to steal one of the beats from our count in measure. And so this when, or a G or 1 chord, is going to be played on beat 4 of our count in measure. So we're only playing 1 extra beat. That's why we call it a pickup note. We're stealing 1 extra beat from our count in measure. And then here on piece is where our 7 full measures start there. So again, we play this 1 or G chord on when, and I always play this on the first note because playing the chord on your pickup note helps you know what note you're supposed to hit. If you didn't play that chord, you might sing the wrong pitch and then play this G or 1 chord here and find yourself clashing a little bit, and we don't want that. So definitely go ahead and play your 1 or G chord right there for sure on when, so you have that reference to what note you're supposed to be singing. But then we play our 1 chord on piece for a full measure. Then we're going to play our 1 again, even though we don't have it listed because it's not a chord change. I also play our 1 again on river for 2 beats. And then the second measure here, we're going to have those first 2 beats. Then beat 3 of our second full measure, we're playing our 5 chord or D on ver. The 4th beat of that second measure, we're playing our 1/3 or G over B on And then here we have our D or 5 chord on 10 for a full measure. And then we have our 1 or G chord here on way for a full measure. So these are 4 full measures right here, plus our 1 extra beat. Then here in the second line, we have 3 total measures, and we have our 6 chord or E minor on the saw of sorrows for 1 whole measure. And then we're going to restate or play this 6 chord again. Again, it's not listed because it's not a chord change, but on C, I am playing an E minor again for 2 beats. Then on beat 3 of that second measure, we play our 5/2 or our D over A on B of billows. Then we have our major 2 chord on beat 4 of that measure on the lows of billows. And then we play our last full measure of this line is our 5 chord or D on the word roll. And the reason why I'm playing a few of these extra chords on beat 1 is that really to give this song a little bit of a more solid rhythmic structure, I play every beat 1 of every measure. So even if I don't change the chords, I'm still going to play on beat 1 to just kind of help this song, especially if I'm playing by myself. I'm going to give this song a little more rhythmic structure, so I'm not just holding a chord out and kind of lose track of how fast or how slow I'm supposed to be playing. Playing on that beat 1 provides a little bit more of a steady pulse. So I'm going to go ahead and play the exact same 2 lines, but I'm going to count it now instead of saying the lyrics. So again, it's going to play the exact same way. We're just looking at the other side of the coin, the same coin. All right, so here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. Those were the 7 total measures plus our 1 pickup note right there. Awesome. So now let's come down to the second half of verse 1, our second group of 7 measures. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to play through these with the lyrics. We'll break it down, and then we'll count through it. So here it is. 1, 2, 3. Whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul. And there we go. Awesome. So here, this 5 chord on what of whatever technically is going to be the same chord played here on roll. This is beat 4, kind of like how we had our pickup note here leading us in. This technically is this what of whatever is being sung on the very last beat of the last measure of this group of 7 up here, leading us into this next spot here. So our first full measure starts on the 1 or the ever of whatever. This is our G chord. We're playing it for a full measure. Then we go to our 4 chord, which is our C chord on the word lot. We play that for a full measure or 4 beats. Here again, we have our major 2 chord, which is A major on taut for a full measure. And then we have our 5 chord or D on the word say for a full measure. So every one of these chords right here is going to get 4 beats or a full measure. Then here, the last 3 measures of the verse, we have our 1 chord or G on the word well. We play that for a full measure. Then our second measure starts, we have our 1/5 or G over D on the word well for 2 beats. Then we have our 5 or D chord on the word with for the last 2 beats of that measure. So 2 beats and 2 beats add up to 4 beats or a whole measure. Then we finish with our 1 or G chord on the word soul for a full measure. So I'm going to play through these last 2 lines and count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. So that was the entirety of verse 1. Awesome. So now let's come down to our refrain. And our refrain is also a total of 7 measures. So what I'm going to do is play through it with the lyrics, break it down, and then we'll count our way through it. So here it is. 1, 2. It is well. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. And there we go. Awesome. So here we start our first full measure of the refrain on well. We have our 1 or G chord on the word well. Again, it and is are our pickup notes. So these 2 words are being sung over the last 2 beats up here. So again, these pickup notes are kind of leading us into the next section of the song. So here we have our 1 chord or G on the word well. We play that for a full measure. Then here, these words in parentheses are the echo part that goes along with the song. So on the second time, it is well on this echo, we switch to our 5 chord or D on the word well. We play that for a full measure. Then we come down to with my soul. We play D or our 5 chord again for a full measure. This 5 chord here, restating it, this is optional. If you want to play this, you can. If you want to just keep holding this one down all the way to this 1 chord, you can. But this, again, just kind of rhythmically helps drive the song a little bit, so that's why we put it in there. So we have this where you could play it on that beat 4 if you wanted to. Our 4th full measure here starts on this 1 or G on the word soul, again on this repeat. Then this last line here has 3 total measures. We have our 4 chord or C on the word well for a full measure. Then we go to our 1/5 or G over D for 2 beats. Then we have on well, then we have our 5 chord or D on the last 2 beats of that measure on the word with, and then we finish with a full measure of G or 1 on soul. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but count it this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. That was the refrain. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the whole verse 1 and the refrain just with the lyrics and show you how it all ties together. So here it is. 1, 2, 3. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. And there we go. That was the entirety of verse 1 and the refrain. With the lyrics, you can see how we put those two sections together. And one thing that's really cool about hymns is generally once you know how to play verse 1, you can play the rest of the song. The only thing that really changes are the lyrics. The rhythms are the same, the chords are the same. The only thing that changes are the lyrics. So here we have the other commonly sung verses, which would be verse 3 and verse 4. Of this song here in the chord chart, but we're going to save some time today and not go through those because, again, everything is the same. The only thing that is different are the words. I do want to talk about really quick how we transition from the refrain back to the next verse here. And so when we're transferring from the refrain to the verse, what happens is this last measure plays out and we simply go into the next measure here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this last line here of the refrain and go into verse 3. We do have our pickup note here, so this my will be sung on the last beat up here. So here it is, 1, 2. It is well, it is well with my soul. My sin, oh, the bliss of this glorious thought. And there we go. So again, as soon as this measure ends, we're going right into verse 3. Just remember, again, this is our pickup note. So we're playing this on beat 4 of this last measure up here. Again, our first full measure of the next verse starts here on the word sin. Awesome. And there we go. And so with that being said, you guys now know everything you need to know in order to play It Is Well. Again, we've gone through the key, the scale, the chords, the time signature, the tempo. We've walked through how to read this according to the chord chart and how the chord changes line up with the lyrics. We've also counted our way through that. If you want to count instead of reading, both are equally fine. Again, they're two sides to the same coin. You can mix and match however you want to figure your way through the song. You know how to transition from verses to refrain and from the refrain to the next verse. So you're ready to play this song. And again, we are so pumped that you guys are taking the time to learn this song. It's one of the gold standards of hymns. This song has stood the test of time. One other quick note I want to make is that if you look below this video, there's going to be a comment box where you can leave questions. If you watch this video and something just didn't make sense, please let us know. We would love to help you out. We would love to get back to you. Again, there's no such thing as a silly question, so please ask. If you don't know, you don't know. So please ask us. We want to help you. Also, if you're just doing really, really great and you're playing the song and everything's clicking, everything makes sense, and you're able to play the song, please let us know as well. We love to hear that positive feedback as well. So now what I'm about to do is I'm about to play through this hymn and you can kind of see how it all fits together. Again, I'm playing it at 84 beats per minute. You can watch that and kind of see how it all ties itself together. But thank you so much for watching this video, guys. We're excited you're learning the song and we hope you have the best day.
Guys, thanks so much for watching the tutorial today. Hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks for being a part of the Rooted Music community. Subscribe to this channel where you'll see so many more tutorials just like this. And maybe if you're watching and you feel like you just need a little bit more help, you need someone to come around you, coach you, help you learn to play these songs better, more effectively, more efficiently, we would love to help you. So click the link that's coming up here in just a second to learn more about how we can help.